This Civic Media podcast is sponsored by UW Organ and Tissue Donation. Organ donations are desperately needed, and now is the right time to become an organ donor. Talk to your family. Get the dot. Save lives. Go to heroicdeed.com.
This is your WMDX Daily News Roundup for Mad Radio 92.7 FM and 1580 AM in Madison.
For 92.7 WMDX News on this Christmas Eve, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. Governor Tony Evers has appointed the next leader of the Department of Natural Resources. Karen Han will take the job. Most recently, she was the chief of staff for the National Atmospheric and Oceanic Administration. This position has sat empty for more than a year, and Evers blames the state Senate. The Republican-controlled chamber has rejected 22 of his executive branch nominees over the last 5 years. Before he took office, they only rejected about one per decade on average. He expects Hyun's first day to be January 27th. People in some southern Wisconsin towns came out to find plastic bags on their driveway that were filled with hate speech, saying things like white power. Here's Stuart J. Waddles.
Police in Whitewater and McGuanago are investigating, but they might not be able to do much about flyers with hateful language found recently. The reports are about the distribution of plastic bags containing what is described as hate speech materials. The bags were found over the weekend. Authorities say they're seeking more information and surveillance footage. A recent court case in Kenosha ruled that similar flyer distribution was protected under the First Amendment.
Last month, there were fake deportation flyers found in Milwaukee. Meanwhile, Madison's public transportation is operating on special schedules today and tomorrow. Routes end early tonight for Christmas Eve. The last buses will run between 5:30 and 7-ish. Meanwhile, tomorrow, Madison Metro will basically be running on a Sunday schedule with reduced service. It's Christmas Eve, but there's a cloud of collective grief hanging over the holidays right now in Madison. That's especially true for the Abundant Life Christian School community. The typical holiday cheer just may not look the same this year. Not to mention, we can all have our own struggles, apart from the collective grief after the school shooting, missing a loved one, or broken relationships, or just being physically apart from people we care about. According to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, 64% of people with depression report the holidays just make them feel worse. Psychiatrist Dr. Ibrahim Sablaban says sadness is one of our most universal human emotions, and the key is to embrace it.
The worst thing somebody can do is really try to suppress feeling human, really suppress feeling lonely, feeling sad, feeling a sense of loss. It's very easy to say, I need to get my mind off of so-and-so who passed away, but that's not the healthy way forward.
Remember, if someone is in crisis, you should call or text 988 or 911. And you might be gathering with loved ones that you don't typically get to see too often. Now could be a good time to have an open and frank conversation about mental health. Now let's talk about something fun, shall we? We managed to track down the big guy before he heads around the world. Lisa Hale has more with Santa.
Being Santa is more than delivering toys and eating milk and cookies. He said it's also helping children believe in themselves as well as jolly old Saint Nick.
Santa wants you to listen to your mom and your dad and to do chores if you're giving them. Be good in school, have a good relationship with your friends, but most of all, love yourself and be kind to yourself. Because kids today are pretty harsh on themselves sometimes.
Santa was a guest Monday on Civic Media's Mino and the Mayor Show.
And we're often busy enjoying, and it can be easy to overlook how much waste we produce around the holidays. Derek Tritz has some suggestions from the Department of Natural Resources.
Rules for recycling vary locally, but there are several items that can be recycled anywhere in Wisconsin, according to DNR Waste Reduction and Division Coordinator Jennifer Sunbrow.
From La Crosse to Milwaukee up into the North Woods, you can recycle containers made of steel, aluminum, glass, and plastics numbers 1 and 2, as well as cardboard, newspaper, magazines, office paper, and other papers.
Batteries and electronics like tablets and phones should be brought to recycling drop-off sites, as they can cause fires in waste bins, in transportation, and at recycling facilities not equipped to handle electronics. More information about recycling in Wisconsin can be found at dnr.wi.gov.
If Santa is part of the tradition tonight in your family, you can watch him travel around the world. Brittany Merlot explains how.
He's made his list and he's checked it twice. Santa is packing his bags and ready to fly in the sky, delivering gifts to all the good kids. The North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, tracks the big man himself as he flies across the globe. The tradition began 69 years ago as a fortunate mistake when a misprinted phone number in a Colorado newspaper connected a little girl to a NORAD colonel. Rather than turning her away, they shared Santa's location, sparking an annual event that now delights millions worldwide. You can follow Jolly Old St. Nick's progress on Christmas Eve at www.noradsanta.org. And over 1,000 volunteers are answering calls at 877-HINORAD. They're updating families on Santa's whereabouts. The same tools NORAD uses to protect the skies, such as satellite systems that detect missile heat signatures, are repurposed to spot Rudolph's glowing red nose. This advanced technology ensures Santa's journey is precisely tracked as he travels across 24 time zones. Get those cookies and milk ready, and maybe some carrots for Rudolph.
That's Brittany Merlot reporting, and I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. Thanks for listening. This is 92.7 WMDX News.
The Packers dominate the Saints. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Packers beat the Saints 34-0. Head coach Matt LaFleur.
It's hard to shut out an opponent in this league, and from what I was told, it was the first one this season, so I was really proud of our defense.
Running back Josh Jacobs with a total of over 100 yards of offense and a touchdown.
I tell people all the time, I feel like I'm the heartbeat of the team in the sense of I get everybody energized, I get everybody with the right type of mentality that I feel like we need to have to play in the game.
With the win, the Packers have clinched a spot in the playoffs. NBA, some of the Bucks players not happy they won't be playing on Christmas Day, feeling snubbed by the NBA. Last night, the Bucks beat the Bulls 112-91. Chris Middleton with 21 points.
Chris, I thought maybe his best game of the year. Early in the year, we wouldn't have won either game. Now we're not only winning games, we're winning them, with a cushion. I thought defensively, this maybe one of our best defensive efforts.
That's Bucks head coach Doc Rivers. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Francis Ford Coppola is a 5-time Oscar-winning filmmaker. He's also a survivor of polio. The 85-year-old director shared his experience with the disease during an interview with Deadline, warning people about the skepticism for polio vaccines expressed by Trump's incoming Health and Human Services Secretary, Robert Kennedy. The Godfather creator says it was his father who saved his life when he contracted polio at a young age and actually lost the use of his legs for 10 days. Coppola's father refused to believe that his son should stay bedridden while dealing with the illness, which was the common belief of how to combat polio at the time. Instead, Carmine Coppola sought a second opinion and found a different approach that suggested mild exercise for those that contracted the disease. Francis Ford praised the vaccine, which came along a couple years later, and says he has never forgotten memories of children in iron lungs calling for their parents. Interesting. Side note, Coppola's father was a composer who created music for many of his son's award-winning films. In trying to make Christmas sexy news, Kim Kardashian has put out a new music video. The reality TV personality released a video under her brother-in-law Travis Barker's label. She used a breathy version of her own rendition of Santa Baby, one of the worst Christmas songs ever, and put images of herself crawling through a party in a blonde wig and skin-colored jeggings. I'm not sure if she realizes it either, but her cleavage was totally showing. I'm sure she's going to give that editor an earful. In the video, there's a donkey, Mary and Joseph, people fighting, people raking money, and a bonfire while people play Twister. For what seems like an eternity, Kim crawls through the chaos with her own singing as a backdrop until she finally stops between Santa's legs and looks up to find it's really Macaulay Culkin. The only good thing about the video is that her singing mercifully stops along with the music about midway through, so it's just her crawling with weird images. It's just something you have to see for yourself, folks. You can check it out free on YouTube, but you'll still want your money back. Sequels led the way at last weekend's domestic box office. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 led the way with $62 million and was followed up by Mufasa, the Lion King prequel, which finished with a disappointing $35 million at the U.S. box office, despite playing on 400 more screens than Sonic. Despite grabbing second place in the U.S., Mufasa was number one globally with a take of $122 million. Finishing in third place was the juggernaut Wicked, which pulled in $13.5 million at the box office, putting its grand total domestically at about $400 million. Wicked leapfrogged Moana 2, which finished in fourth place with $13.1 million at the box office. The borderline religious film Homestead finished in fifth place with $6.6 million, despite not so great reviews. The Brutalist, a 3.5-hour film that actually has an intermission, opened in limited release and pulled in $266,000, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it was only on 4 screens. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
A mix of clouds and sunshine today. We'll get to right around 31 for a high this afternoon with a light northeasterly breeze. Tonight it will be cloudy. There could be a little patchy fog in some spots, low in the mid-20s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy for Christmas Day with a high of 34. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Currently it's 28.
That's your WMDX Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at mad.radio. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.